He kissed me goodbye at the gate with tears in his eyes. I cried too. He believed every single one. What he didn't know, I had already moved $375,000, filed for divorce, and found out exactly who was waiting for him. He thought he was starting over. I made sure he was starting from zero. I'm 34, I work in digital marketing, and for 7 years I thought I was building something real with my husband. We weren't perfect, nobody is, but we had a house, a dog we never agreed on a name for, and savings we'd been quietly stacking for years. That's the kind of life that looks fine from the outside. Then a Tuesday night changed everything. He took a call in the garage at 11 p.m. When he came back inside, there was this energy on him, buzzing, barely contained, and he told me he had news. I got offered a position, he said, leaning against the kitchen counter.
Seattle.
2 years, maybe more. It's the kind of thing that only comes once. I put down my coffee.
Seattle.
That's when. 6 weeks. 6 weeks. I repeated because sometimes you just need to hear the absurdity out loud. He spent the next hour selling me on it. The salary bump, the career trajectory, the monthly visits. It sounded reasonable the way that only a lie built by a smart person sounds reasonable. I said I needed time to think. He said, of course. He kissed my forehead and went to bed. I stayed in the kitchen for a long time. Here's what 7 years teaches you, you know their patterns. And his patterns were off. Longer showers. Gym trips at hours that didn't line up with anything. His phone angling away from me mid-conversation, not dramatically, just slightly. The kind of thing you dismiss as paranoia if you weren't paying attention. I was paying attention. 3 weeks before his supposed departure, I was looking for car insurance documents in his home office when I found a printed hotel confirmation. Not for Seattle. For a city 2 states over, dated 6 months prior, under his name plus 1 guest. My name wasn't on it. I photographed it without touching it, put everything back exactly as I found it, and sat in my car for 20 minutes. Then I made 2 calls. The first was to my cousin, who'd been through a divorce 4 years earlier. The second was to the attorney she recommended. Don't touch the joint accounts, my attorney told me when we met the next day. Don't confront him. Don't let him know you know anything. I need you to document everything first. For how long? 2, maybe 3 weeks.
Can you do that?
I thought about the forehead kiss. Yeah, I said. I can do that. I went home and made dinner that night. I asked about the Seattle role. I let him talk like I was genuinely excited. I even helped him pick out a winter coat for the Pacific Northwest, which, looking back, is either the most controlled thing I've ever done or the darkest joke the universe ever handed me. My attorney had me start pulling everything: bank statements, tax returns, credit card records, mortgage documents, the investment portfolio binder we kept in the hall closet. I scanned it over 3 nights while he slept and emailed everything to her. She filed a notice of appearance quietly, and we began identifying what constituted marital property under our state's law. 2 weeks out from departure, he slid a piece of paper across the dinner table. It's just a power of attorney, he said casually, like he was asking me to sign for a package. So I can handle financial things remotely while I'm away. Simpler that way. I looked at the document. Let me read through it tonight, I said. He nodded. He looked completely calm. That calm should have told me everything. I brought it to my attorney the next morning. She didn't sugarcoat it. This is not a standard POA, she said. This language would allow him to liquidate joint accounts, transfer real property, and close investment portfolios without your knowledge or signature. He said it came from our estate attorney. It didn't. She put the document down. We need to move faster. I told him that night I needed a few more days to review the paperwork.
He was understanding about it.
Concerningly understanding. He brought me wine and rubbed my shoulders and said there was no rush. We could talk whenever I was ready. It was the most attentive he'd been in months. Dark humor note. Nothing makes a man more affectionate than knowing he's about to rob you. While he was being attentive, I was quietly gathering. My attorney advised me to open a personal checking account at a bank he had no relationship with, not to move anything yet, just to be positioned. I did it the next morning on my lunch break. 10 days before his flight, his mother called me. "I just want you to know," she said, "you're handling this so well. The long-distance thing is so hard. You're a saint for supporting him."
"Thank you," I said.
"He loves you so much. This job is going to be so good for your future together. He's lucky to have your support," I said and hung up. I thought briefly about whether she knew. Then I decided it didn't matter. The next day, I found the second thing. I was transferring photos from my phone to my laptop when I accidentally synced a shared album my husband and I had set up years ago for house renovation photos. There was a picture in there I hadn't taken. A woman, laughing, on what looked like a hotel balcony, shot by him, from that same weekend as the confirmation I'd found. He'd completely forgotten the shared album existed. I forwarded it to my attorney and called her immediately. "Does this change anything legally?" In a no-fault state, infidelity doesn't directly alter asset division. But it corroborates the financial deception, which matters if he tries to challenge your conduct or claim you acted in bad faith. Understood. "How are you doing?" "I'm fine," I said. And I actually was. There's a strange clarity that arrives when the thing you feared confirms itself. The uncertainty is gone. All that's left is the plan. The second dirty trick came 4 days later. He came home and told me he'd spoken to a financial advisor, one I'd never heard of, who recommended consolidating our investments into a single account for simplicity while he was abroad. He had professional-looking paperwork ready. "I just want to make sure our money is working for us while I'm away," he said. "That makes sense," I said. "Can I look it over?" "Of course. No rush at all." My attorney looked at the consolidation documents the next morning. She took 45 seconds. "This moves everything into an account with full discretionary authority held by someone who clearly has a pre-existing relationship with your husband. You'd be a co-owner in name only." She set the papers down. "He's escalating." "I know. We file this week." My attorney filed the divorce petition 2 days later. Because we had documented the financial misconduct, the fraudulent POA, the consolidation scheme, the hotel records, she secured a temporary financial restraining order preventing either party from liquidating or transferring marital assets without court approval. This is standard procedure under documented dissipation of assets claims. Once that order was in place, everything was frozen. We then petitioned for an emergency order allowing me to move my equitable share of the $375,000 joint investment account into a protected account pending final proceedings. The court granted it. I sat in her office when she told me. She was matter-of-fact about it. She'd done this 100 times. I just sat there for a second thinking about all of it. The hotel receipt. The shared photo album. The unsigned POA still sitting on our kitchen counter like a prop. Dark humor, 7 years of marriage, and all it took to protect myself was 3 weeks of paperwork and one husband who forgot about a shared iCloud folder. He still had no idea. He was comparing luggage sets. He asked me to help him make a Seattle packing list. I helped him make the packing list. The third dirty trick came 2 days before his flight. He sat down across from me with a careful, rehearsed quality in his voice. "I don't think we're in a good place," he said. "I think we've been struggling for a while, and with this distance coming up, I think we should consider a trial separation. No pressure, no expectations. Just space to figure out what we each actually want." He was laying groundwork. If I agreed to a trial separation, he could later argue in proceedings that the dissolution was mutual, that I'd consented, which could complicate my standing. My attorney had warned me about exactly this framing. "I hear you," I said. "Let's revisit after you land and get settled. I don't want to make big decisions right before you leave." He nodded, satisfied. He thought he'd planted a seed. He had no idea the seed had already grown, been harvested, and was sitting in a court-protected account. The morning of his flight, I woke early and made coffee. I brought him a cup. We sat at the kitchen table together, and it was almost peaceful, the kind of quiet that exists between two people who are both performing, except only one of us knew we both were. "I'm going to miss this," he said, looking around the kitchen. "Me too," I said. Part of that was even true. You don't spend 7 years somewhere and feel nothing. But grief and action aren't mutually exclusive. I grieved. I also acted. At the airport, I held his hand at the security line. He had tears in his eyes, which was either real emotion or an impressive closing performance. Maybe both. "I love you," he said. "I know," I said. I hugged him. The tears came easily. They just weren't about what he thought they were about. He went through security. Turned once, waved. I waved back. I walked to the parking garage and called my attorney. "He's through security." Good. The petition was filed yesterday. He'll be served at his new address within the week. The order is still in place. Everything is locked. Your equitable share is in the protected account. We're on schedule. I drove home. The dog met me at the door. He called that evening from Seattle, excited about his apartment, talking about the neighborhood, asking when I'd come visit. I made the right noises. I asked the right questions. I said it sounded beautiful. 2 days after he landed, a process server knocked on his door. He called 11 times in the next hour. I let everyone go to voicemail. My attorney had advised no direct contact once the petition was filed. When I finally called him back through her office, he was barely coherent. "What is this? What did you do?" "I filed for divorce."
"Why?"
"Because of Seattle?"
"We talked about this."
"We didn't actually," I said. "We performed talking about it." "I don't understand." The hotel receipt, the photo on the shared album, the fake POA, the consolidation scheme with your advisor friend. I kept my voice completely level. "Which part is unclear?" A long silence. "I can explain." "You can explain it in mediation," I said. And I let my attorney handle the rest. He flew back 2 weeks later. Of course he did. He showed up at the house, which he technically still co-owned, so I couldn't bar entry, but I had secured the rooms containing important documents, which was legally permissible since the home remained fully livable. He walked through like he was taking inventory. "Where's the investment binder?" "With my attorney." "Those are my documents too." "Copies are with my attorney." "Originals are in a court-approved hold pending proceedings." He looked at me like he was recalibrating, like he realized, for the first time, that he'd badly underestimated the situation. His attorney tried to argue my asset transfer was unauthorized. My attorney produced the court order. His attorney then tried to argue the POA reflected mutual financial planning intent. My attorney produced 2 forensic handwriting analysts who confirmed the document had been prepared by a third party, not our state attorney, and that the notarization was irregular. Dark humor. Nothing says I love you like a forensic handwriting analyst testifying against your husband in open court. His attorney attempted to claim I had effectively abandoned the marital home by restructuring the household, which my attorney dismantled in approximately 6 minutes at the preliminary hearing. What sealed the proceedings was what came out during discovery. My attorney had traced the shared photo album metadata, cross-referenced it with his credit card records, and established a pattern of contact spanning 14 months. The woman in the photograph wasn't a recent mistake. She was a colleague. Over 3,000 messages. Jewelry purchases. He had put her on a flight to Seattle the day he arrived. In a no-fault state, infidelity doesn't automatically change asset division formulas. But when his attorney tried to argue I had acted in bad faith, attempting to flip the narrative, the documented financial misconduct came back on him under the dissipation of assets doctrine. The judge found his arguments without merit. Final division. I kept the house, supported by 3 years of primary mortgage contribution. I received 60% of the investment account. He kept his retirement portfolio and his debt. The split was equitable and legally sound. He also lost the Seattle position. When divorce proceedings became public record, as they do, and his employer conducted a background review during a promotion process, the financial misconduct findings were there in black and white. He had to disclose. They rescinded the offer. He called me the evening after the final hearing. His own attorney had advised him not to. He called anyway. Was any of it real? He asked. 7 years is a long time to be asking that, I said. I never meant for it to go this far. I know, I said. You thought I'd cry and wait. He didn't say anything after that. Neither did I. I kept the dog. He didn't fight me on it, probably the one decent thing he did in the entire process. The dog sleeps on the left side of the bed now, which is a significant upgrade from the kitchen floor, and his snoring is considerably less disruptive than 7 years of lies. Moving forward wasn't dramatic. It was Tuesday morning practical. New routines, same career, better sleep, and a savings account that exists because I paid attention when I needed to. He chose to leave before he left. I just made sure the door closed on my terms. If you made it this far, you clearly have a taste for watching entitled people trip over their own schemes. So subscribe because there's plenty more where that came from.